Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 50. And wow, I never expect to get this far with this thing when I brought back this series this year. Yeah, reviving this old series that up until the last few months I did not do for over a year, and prior to that, hadn't done watching Super Sentai at that point for at least about 4 years. So now we're episode 50. And what do we discuss in this one? A movie. Yes, the Denziman, the movie. Yes, released in 1981, I believe it was. It was 1980, excuse me. Yes, apparently it was made between episodes 24 and 25. I'm like, okay. Now, this movie does use some stock footage. Typical of these films do this. Because there's actually 2 minutes of stock footage. I'll get to that. This film has a debut of a one-shot a character. You might think it's a one-shot character, but she does pop up a few times in the series. Excuse me. Movie starts out in a very similar vein to Jaws, where you see this giant head pop up out of the water and eat this shipboater, absorbs, what the heck? And he comes to the beach and takes the little boy to eat the thing? No, he just captured it, apparently. And later on captures what looks like to be a single mother. Where her husband is, I don't know, because they don't bring in the movie. And then they're brought to this sailing ship in the middle of nowhere. And the reason why they're here is because, well, they're asked to touch the steering wheel. And it turns out, though, that they were testing for who is the son of the Denshi tribe. Mm-hmm. And the answer is the mother. She has no idea what the heck is going on. Meanwhile, though, in case you wondered what Denziman was up to, they're basically on patrol trying to stop the monster, which, okay, that's pretty smart of them to do. So they have taken the monster, they take out Denshi Tiger, they fire the thing, do a lot of stuff here. Heck, we actually, for the first time ever, in this one anyways, we actually the characters go to the beach. Which, yes, I love basically seeing fiction of characters going to the beach. Means you can see the characters in swimsuits. Well, for a male viewer like myself, seeing Denshi Pink in a swimsuit is quite cool. I love it. Yeah, one thing I got to point out, though, the actress at the time was a lovely woman. I mean, oh my gosh, she was like hot. Yeah, I think now she's much more older now. Mm-hmm. Let's see. The actress who plays her, yeah, just by sheer coincidence, her actor's name is Akira, just like the character. Now, I think at the time she was probably in her 20s. I think she was like 20 when first took the role. Currently, I'm looking at a picture right now. I don't know, this is probably in the last 20 years or so. She is currently 61. Yes, this year she's 61. And look at a picture, she looks like she aged very well for someone who's 61. Yeah. Yeah, so they go out taking the monster, and of course they later find out while searching for it, doing a patrol, they hear, we see this little girl named Himori, who I think this film is their only appearance to date that I can think of. Yeah, this I think is her only appearance, but there's this woman named Claire who appears in the movie who looks similar to the mother, possibly because basically she's a supporting character. Because, well, similar appearance. Actually, it's more like the actress who played Princess Denshi. Yes, there's a princess. Yep. Of course, this little girl has got this crystal, which is referred to as the Rainbow Stone, which was given to, they realized in a flashback, that it was given to Claire, one of her servants, 3,000 years prior to the series. Excuse me. So, of course, this is explained to, not by IC, surprisingly, this is explained by the computer. Now, of course, they save the girl from the monster, who, by the way, is the only monster ever in this whole entire, season of Super Sentai that has no number on it. Yeah, it's an unnumbered monster. Probably because it appears in the movie. That's my personal guess, anyways. So, I guess they figured, though, don't need a number because it's a movie, because it's not part of the series. Well, it kind of is. It does set up, basically, you will see, of course, the series. Of course, also when they explain, the Denshi Planet backstory again, I think this is the second time they did it at this point, they end up showing stock footage of episodes 1, 3, 7, and 8. Yep. Showing stock footage. This lasts for at least 2 minutes. Yes, 2 minutes of this 45-minute runtime is stock footage. I guess they decided to do that for some reason. I don't know why. So, now, apparently they wanted this particular use this boat, but apparently only Denzi's can use it. I'm like, okay. But what's the purpose of using this boat for? Apparently this boat was something from the Princess Denzi, who surprisingly is still alive, patrolling the universe after 3,000 years. What, Denzi's immortal? They probably just don't age. Presumably, anyways. Yep. Yeah, so, of course, the princess herself does pop up a couple times in the movie. First, via the crystal. The second time is actually at the end of the movie. Yep. So, then we have it where, well, Vader does kind of partially succeed in their plan. They get the Rainbow Crystal, thanks to, of course, brainwashing Denshi Pink, who is, well, she got the crystal in her hand because she was tricked by Hamori. That's the little girl who took the Denziman because she's the descendant of the Denshi people. Which apparently IC doesn't feel like he's overjoyed the fact that his own, they're survivors of descendants of his own people living on Earth, and he doesn't feel overjoyed about it. I would figure though he'd be so happy. Nope, he isn't. He feels okay about it, but it doesn't feel like he's excited the fact that people from his home planet are in fact alive. Yep. And of course, Vader are actually a pretty ingenious in this movie. They're written really well, where they actually have an actual strategy, which does end up failing and backfire at the very end. But this movie has a ton of screen time for Denshi Tiger. I mean, wow, this is something. Probably because it's a movie, they probably could afford to actually have Denshi Tiger appear on screen for more than a few minutes, at most. Yeah, it actually appears a lot in this movie. Heck, we even have something we probably don't see in the main series. I see piloting Denshi Tiger. Yes, a dog in the cockpit of Denshi Tiger. Heck, we even have a little girl who pops up in the cockpit, who comes in the cockpit of the Denshi fighter. Of course, the monster was defeated at the very end. But this movie is just really good. Of course, as for Queen Hamor, she doesn't really do much of anything except for the only thing nowhere that she does the whole movie is I haven't bossed people around that she just used a crystal ball to Denshi Pink, but after that, she does practically nothing. Yeah. The general, of course, who does appear in the movie, he also does nothing. It's mostly the monster does all the work. I'm like, really? You have this general show up and you don't have him fight the Rangers? Seriously? Oh, by the way, how they get to this boat was quite interesting. Apparently, they took time to rent 2 speedboats. One of these, 2 stack ones. I'm like, those things are expensive. They must have basically convinced the owners, hey, can we borrow this? Because they're probably must have done the Ranger form. So it's like, hey, can we borrow this? Like, sure, why not? You guys saved the borrow anyway, so go right ahead. Yeah, so they have rescuing the people on board. Of course, while they rescue Denshi Pink, though they rescue everybody else. And as monsters defeated, of course, the general and the invader spies, which apparently, here's the thing. They never, the Rangers in this movie, and in episodes I've seen, even this movie, they never heard the general by his actual name. Like, like in the case of the Mira and Kira. Oh, they only refer to them as Vader's lady spies. Seriously, they call them this every time they show up, and that's a minor irritation. Can't you actually figure out these ladies' names? Yeah, but I love the backstory they explore here for Planet Denshi, which is really cool. I love the special effects of the ships, which typical 80s. I love seeing these galleons that appear in here, which is so cool. And of course, at the very end, the ship that was kind of a minor plot thread this whole movie, yeah, it's taken up by the princess herself. Takes the boat back and descends to live on Earth, no problem. And despite the fact that the first crystal that she was given to the monster, and of course, the monster was destroyed, she ends up getting a little girl a new crystal. Yep. And of course, she appears kind of on Earth briefly. I'm surprised she hasn't talked to the Rangers. I'm like, really? I mean, they are the ones who have the use of Denzi power. Doesn't speak to them at all. I'm like, really? You're the princess of the planet that was destroyed, and you don't take time to speak to the people who are using your technology to protect Earth. Yeah, he doesn't talk to him at all for some reason. I don't know why. But this movie, like, the story itself is actually quite, like, a lot of stuff is good about this movie. The story, the pacing, the music, the special effects. Yeah, my guess is the reason why that the Denzi fighter got almost screen time is because, well, of, how should I put this? And the reason is because movie. Because in the show, I'm sure this vehicle is very expensive to show on the screen. So that's probably the reason why they limited its screen time to about just for a few minutes. Here, I think like out of the 45 minutes, I think it appears for a good like 20 minutes of the movie. Which I think is so cool. And you probably won't see this in the series. Not really, no. Yeah. But great movie overall. And I can't wait to discuss the very next episodes for the series. Yes, and here's something now. This is actually the first movie I've talked about for Super Sentai since the last one was Jack versus Go Ranger. Yeah, that was the last one. And before that, it was Kamen X Super Sentai Superhero Tension. Of course, that was like last year. And now we have the 30. This actually is my 30 movie I've watched with Super Sentai. And you probably ask it, Nick, what was the first movie you watched for Super Sentai? Goseiger versus Goseiger, Super Sentai 199 Great Hero Battle. That was the first movie I watched. Basically, I watched a lot of the cross movies. I like the cross movies. I think they're pure fun. Yep. When I get a chance to watch more, oh heck yes, definitely. Yep. But yeah, not much to say about this. It's good. I'm sorry if I had to keep wiping my nose, but my nose has been dripping for the last few minutes. So, yeah, so that's it for Single View, and that's it for this today. I thought it was going to close and get done today, but I didn't get much further today than I did yesterday. So, see you all tomorrow for more Super Sentai, okay? See you next video. Bye.